Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Akshat and today we are going to talk about the talk of the town, Artifacts by Claude. Now again, you have heard the word artifacts multiple times, but this is exactly what artifacts should be. They are the true version of vibe coding which is accessible to anyone, right? So what you see in front of me are just some applications which are created by users without writing a single line of code. So let me show you a couple of them, right? I probably like the flashcards one a lot. Obviously everyone knows flashcards when you have been studying for some time. So we are going to just ask a couple of examples. Teach me AI, and I'm going to click on generate flashcards. Now this application, which is created by Claude itself, is going to generate a flashcard set for me to learn. And this is created without writing any line of code, right? So artificial intelligence, I can flip, what does it mean? And you can keep going like this, and you can flip any cards. It just creates flashcards simply to learn any topic. And this can be created by you or anyone else who is using Claude using artifacts. Let's try something more interesting, right? Let's play a game because that must be more interesting. So let's see. I would love to see slime saucer, right? Again, soccer. It looks pretty good. Select this. Select 1 minute. Okay. So okay, perfect, super simple, right? Again, and this game technically exists. I'm not doing very well at this game. This game technically exists without having any code requirements, right? Like someone created this game without writing a single line of code. Everything was done by Claude. And if you want to see what conversations happened to create this game, what you can do is come here and click on view full chart, right? This brings you to another page where all the conversation that someone used to get to this point is created. Now obviously these are examples by Anthropic, but I believe you'll soon be able to see others conversations and everything else also. This is like the whole conversation that we can see here on how to create the slime soccer game, how they did, what were the options and everything. And also you can see this was 67th version. Now again, you can select, go back to an older version and see how did the version 1 turn out, and just see all the differences that has come up. Now here you can see they have done a lot more. They've added some stuff from GitHub, they've probably pushed it and come back here. So this is an interesting way to see how someone else is vibe coding and actually learn from it. So I think this is a great starting point for learning. This also helps you click on this button and create your own version of this slime soccer game. But I don't want to do that. I want to probably choose something else. But let's go ahead and have a deep dive into creating our new artifact and something cool. I actually like this Anthropic office simulator, but I want to do something both traditional but also at the same time a bit more cool. Okay, so I want to create technically a productivity tool, but I want to create a productivity tool formatted as a game. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in a couple of quick commands. I just want to ask it to create a gamified productivity tool which allows to track the following: health, workout, and sleep time, right? And then I want to ask it to track work, how many tasks done and how much time spent. And then technically the most important one is just overall, how are you feeling, right? Daily log of how are you feeling, right? So a simple way to keep you on track. That's the goal. If you see, I did not answer all the questions that it asked, right? But I want to see what it comes down to be, right? So gamified life tracker overview, it gives me all the core features. This is very cool, and this is actually what I believe vibe coding should look like. Instead of you being an expert on prompting XYZ, which always helps, but even if someone is just getting started with creating their own application and they don't come from a tech background, it is difficult to get started, right? So this saves them a lot of time and helps them create that. Now perfect, it described our core features and gamified elements, and then we are just going to say okay, yes, looks good. Again, obviously I can ask it to change stuff, but what I'm going to say is use beautiful design. I don't even want to describe what specific design, and make it with beautiful colors, make it with great colors, right? And then you can choose a different model here. I can use Opus, but then it will move me to a new chart. So again, I don't want to do that, right? I technically want to go back to my previous chart and select Sonnet. That's one distinction. If you're building something complex, please choose the right model when you are getting started itself, because else you'll have to choose. Now, here's a cool fact by the time this is building. If you add an AI feature, and we'll try to add an AI feature here, I can share that artifact with any of the Claude users and they can use that AI feature for free. So that means I don't need to pay anything for the additional API tokens or anything, and they can just use it within Claude itself. It kind of becomes like a whole productivity system, and I believe this might take off much higher compared to what GPTs did. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward this bit so you don't get bored on seeing the first time, but it also goes to show you that the first time that you build this, it is going to take a bit more time than you think. So okay, perfect. So this is the first outcome that it has come, and honestly it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool, like given that it took roughly a minute to get it done, right? So daily life score and everything else and XYZ. But the point is, the one thing that it does not do is it does not have an onboarding process. Like it just brought me to this. This was the first thing that came up. Like I'm on level 8. I can add a workout, but it does not know what is like workout value means. If I add 30 minutes, it just adds the time and puts me to level 9. If I add sleep, like again, if I add 100, it allows me to add to 100 hours, which does not make sense. Should be some restriction. Same with tasks and everything else. It's a good start, but let's try to modify it a bit more, right? I just want to do a couple of options and see where can we get to this. So I'm going to say very simply describe it in detail. Now again, one thing that I've started doing a lot more is actually using this particular tool called wisprflow, which is very simply don't type, just speak, right? It allows you to technically just speak whatever you want and input transcription. Now that simply means speech to text, but I'm going to show you this in feature because I use it to work with AI much more faster. So let's start that. I don't want you to have this. I want to actually have an onboarding process. So the user should input their name and their basic details, right? And then go ahead to level 1. That's where they should start with. Number 2, they should not be able to choose a workout that is just add 1000 minutes and that should change to progress. Rather than that, keep a slider between 0 to 120 minutes, which is a decent workout time. In addition to that, also the sleep time should be on a daily basis. You should not exceed more than 10 hours or at least more than 24 hours, because nobody can sleep more than 24 hours in a day. Have those restrictions built in. And on the task front, actually create a task list also that the user can maintain within the group and then tick them off, right? So yes, this is a good one, but the point is every part of this feature should have a separate tab that I can go ahead and log my workouts, log my sleep, log my this, and this can be the screen that you've built, should be the dashboard. Now obviously I fast forwarded what I've spoken, but this is how it the text comes. It's just my own thought speaking much faster. So I can just press enter and then it will go ahead and take all of this information and then process it. The best part about speaking your thought, and this is one of my best favorite tools now. If you want to try it out, go down into the link and you get 1 month of free access if you sign up and complete 2000 words. So yeah, it's pretty cool and I love it. It's now going to update this, right? And I'm just going to say yes, right? Because again, it's right now I'm just clicking else. I would have read through and shown if it works or not. But just go yes, and then again Claude will go ahead and update the system. Now again, this works technically like any other application like Lovable or Bold, but the point being, because it exists within Claude, it is much more usable, and this can also become a new place for people to launch Claude artifacts and just have apps like mini apps that live within Claude and everything else. Perfect. Now this is what the outcome has come out to be, and let's try how does this look. I have not tested this, so let's see. Right, I'm just going to put my age, my name, and then start with this. I'm putting my daily goals. Perfect. This looks good. I would have preferred a much better slider rather than like this old slider, maybe with an icon or something, and that's where you are at level 1. And now this looks much better, right? So I can target workout and I can select cardio and I can select how many minutes and then log that, and that brings me back to the dashboard. I believe this is a cool option to actually track it. But then again, it again allows me to track this, which is not super cool. I would technically want to change that and do something. Here I can add a task. Let's see if I can remember my tasks, right? So info demo, right? And then if I bring it back to dashboard, it does not update, right? So it has this here, but again, okay, so it only counts the tasks which are done, not anything else. And that's something again, you can feature. I'm just going to put great mode, again, I'm recording a YouTube video. So happy, please subscribe if you are interested in watching more videos like this. And then again, you can keep doing that. So again, super interesting, super cool way to just do stuff around Claude. And then you can see again, it has pretty interesting stuff. Now again, can you build a complete application like this? 110%. Can you do more stuff with this? Yes. But let's try one more thing. Add an AI feature using the Claude API, which allows me to describe my day and automatically update workout and sleep and tasks, right? So again, this is, let's see if it works, because again, I should have technically, what Claude allows you to tell is better to start with saying that let's build an AI app rather than adding this here. But I want to try if it actually works in the middle of the process. Now if you want to learn more about artifacts, you can also go to the Claude's this particular documentation. I have this documentation link down below, so you can go ahead and check it out there. It's also updated like quite literally in the last 15 minutes. So like, they are obviously like, adding a ton more stuff, ton more options, ton more FAQs. So go ahead and like, try that. And this allows you to like, really build applications which can be used by a lot of Claude users. One of the best things that I love to read this is no one needs to manage API keys and you pay nothing for their usage. Anybody can use it, right? Because very simply, it's going to be technically living inside Claude. So if anyone wants to use an AI feature, they technically need to be logged in, and that's only when they can use Claude. But if anyone wants to use like a calculator type application that you've built here, anyone can use it. And I'll show you how to actually publish and share that in a second. A quick problem came up, right? When I asked it to add the AI option, it started throwing up an error, right? Again, I asked it to refactor it. I've asked it to fix it, but the point being, like, again, it started rewriting the whole thing when I just asked it to fix it in the twice sent. And that's fine, like, again, it will start rewriting it. So technically, if you're creating an AI app, actually start with, like, that I want to create an AI app starting, right? So I'll show that to you as an example. You can click on artifacts, and then you can click on new artifact. And then once you click on new artifact, you can select, like, one of these options. But instead of, like, just selecting this option, actually suggest that, create and start. I want to build an AI app, right? So I want to build an AI app using Claude API, create a simple chart which can help users with their travel plans, right? And once I write this, or like, whatever, like, after Claude API, you can, like, then technically, like, allow for that, right? Like, a simple feature. They have also given, like, specific options on how to create that, right? Okay, so to get started, you can actually copy something like this, right? Create a simple chart, but that uses Claude, because then it technically can, like, directly get started with, like, running the Claude API. Use Claude for all AI users. Yes, it works. And now it will start creating an artifact, like, that can have like an API connected to Claude, or just like, using Claude there. So yeah, as you can see, it's already started writing this, but let's come back to our old one. Where is it? Okay, hit continue to nudge along, because I think, like, this is one problem. As you see, like, again, we were trying to build something super simple, but as soon as I asked it to, like, take a different turn rather than, like, starting with AR, it starts with a problem. So again, a good tool. I would have loved, like, if it would have fixed this quickly, but like, again, just like, it's fine. Like, it's a production application, it will get better. So yeah, test it out, try it out for your own use cases. Let's see how does this come out to be. But the best thing is, like, I can run multiple apps. So this is the productivity tools overview, and this is our creative project for, like, very simply a Claude travel planning app that can be created here. But you can have, like, both those options. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Finally done. Okay, let's try Akshat, age 25, and then continue, and then you have this. Okay, start my journey, and now I have an AI log. I did a workout for 20 minutes and slept for 6 hours, right? And process with AI. If it works, we should technically, yep, perfect, works, right? It logged everything, and that's the beauty of this, that it works directly with Claude. So I don't need to manage an API key, I don't need to pay for any usage, everyone can use this. So let's say if you want to use this application and you have a Claude account, I can click on publish, right? And in this, I technically want to, like, just publish this. I would technically and also change the screenshot or something like that. So capture a screenshot, done, and click on publish and copy link. Now this link will be available in the description, so you can go ahead and try it out. I'll show you how does this look for anyone else. If I open this in this, like, in the new page, you can see it starts here, and this looks super cool, that you can have an application ready and to be published to anyone who's a Claude user. If you want AI, and anyone who's a user of Claude, or even if not a user of Claude, they can use it. So this is super cool. But if you're building an app with AI, they need a Claude account. But if you're building an app which does not need any AI specific usage or AI features, anyone can use it. So this is super cool. You can create simple applications very quickly and share it with people, and technically make a lot of more people happy. Right now, the only thing I will suggest to all of you is go ahead and test cool stuff out. Right, again, I think, like, one of this is, like, pretty cool. It's a forest explorer, right? Again, very simple, but, like, again, like, you can just, like, move around. So I can move around, and, like, it's just like a forest, an infinite canvas of forest or something like that, and that's it. Like, again, it's cool. Like, okayish, like, again, just like chill stuff. You can do a couple of things, like, you have an SVG amphitheater, you have a office simulator, and everything else. So you can move around, and same thing, right? Again, similar to forest. But again, test all of this stuff out. It's pretty cool. Go ahead and check it out and tell them, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was super cool to make this, and I love what Artifacts has done. Go ahead and create one right away and see what you want to build and share it with your friends. Till then, go ahead and test this out. Until then, if you love this, please do like, share, and subscribe. Helps me a lot, and I would love to see you in the next one.